Education keeps this order moving with its twofold function of conservatism and progressivism. That means it protects our ideas, our culture, and our traditions, but at the same time works towards our progress. Without education, either the social order perishes and there is all round chaos, as in anarchy, or it becomes so stable that the individual becomes a slave to it and continues to lead a life on a beaten track. Which means if there is no education, there would not be any social order and there would be chaos all over, or else it would become so stable that the individual just becomes a slave to it and keeps doing things in a repeated pattern. Beaten track means in a repeated pattern. Education brings social change, but social change is vitally linked to economic change. An education which does not promote economic change very often fails to promote social change. This is the reason why indigenous education in India in the 18th and 19th century failed to bring social reforms in the country. The Indian village was having an unchanging economic order, and whatever education was provided were for the promotion of traditionalism, conservatism, and orthodoxy. The society becomes static and degenerative. The economic growth leads to social change. It is education that leads to economic growth. The developments in science and technology are also dependent on education. The social change in a nation may take place because of the socio-economic political upheavals. It may begin at an unconscious level. The life of the society through imitation may adopt some cultural patterns or a value system without being conscious that a change is being brought about in it. Such change we may refer to as changes at the unconscious level. The changes, however, do not remain at the unconscious level for a long time. They may be imitated at an unconscious level, but their acceptance takes place at the conscious level, and it is only at this level that the changes become universally acceptable in a group, a society, or a nation. The education in India during the British period, especially with English as a medium of instruction, influenced the thoughts and lifestyles of the people. They began to imitate the Western ways. It also created a sense of frustration about their own ways. The education thus created a frustration about the situation and also prepared them for accepting changes in their life patterns. It also enabled the individual to proceed in the direction that would bring about changes in the society at the conscious level. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Mahatma Gandhi, highly educated and enlightened Indians made all efforts at the conscious level to bring about social changes. All these reformists felt the need of a sound education to bring about social reforms. The educational backwardness sustained and nurtured social backwardness. Gandhiji realized the unproductiveness of the prevalent education. He felt education which kept the people away from one's work and inculcated hatred for work is not worth the pursuit. A strong relationship between hand and head was established in his basic system of education. The Education Commission from 1964 to 66 has observed one of the important social objectives of education is to equalize opportunity, enabling the backward or underprivileged classes and individuals to use education as a leveler for the improvement of their condition. In a society, if all the individuals are treated as equal, it is important that they get equal opportunities for advancement. Since education is one most important means for vertical mobility, it is through an exposure to education that one can aspire to achieve higher status, position, and emoluments. The quality of educational opportunities will ensure rapid advancement of a nation. When all people have the opportunity to get education, they will have a chance to develop their natural talents and thus enrich the society. Vertical mobility takes place whenever an individual's occupational status changes, his education level changes, and his lifestyle changes. It is through education that one can hope to replace the ascribed status by achieved status. Thus, education can help to realize one of the national goals of removing social inequalities. Education and economic development. In the present times, no nation can think of social or economic development without ensuring an abundant supply of highly educated and skilled people. A nation of uneducated citizens would find itself in great difficulties even to survive. The present world is living through a technological and scientific revolution. This has necessitated that every country should have an adequate number of qualified scientists, technologists, and technicians. Education in a purely agrarian economy has always been of low value as the production was considered in monetary terms. The concept has now changed. Agriculture in modern times is as much a concern of the scientist and technologist as that of a farmer. In the industrialized countries, the need for education at all levels began to be felt as the industries developed. Stanislav Strimelin in 1962 said, highly qualified workers lead to high productivity of labor and increase not only their own earnings but also the social product and consequently the national income. Peter Drucker, 1959, says productive work in today's society and economy is work that applies vision, knowledge, and concepts, work that is based on the mind rather than hand. The technological revolution has created the need for scientists, technologists, and technicians for a progressive country, the supply of whom at a regular rate and in adequate numbers has to be ensured through the expansion of education. Education not only produces technologists but technologically and scientifically literate persons. The impact of education on economic growth and of economic growth on education has been tremendous. The richer nations have an enriching and expanding system of education. In USA, Russia, and Denmark, the high rates of economic growth were coupled with high rates of expenditure on education. Vasey 1962 observes, as a nation grows richer, it tends to increase more than proportionately its expenditure on education. Galbraith 1959 says, education increases our productivity. Israel is a good example for educational investment providing high returns. The outstanding feature of the initial 5 year plans of India was their laudable goals and objectives for facilitating educational growth at all levels in general and primary education in particular. Further, the accelerated pace at which technology institutes, agricultural universities, etc., were opened immediately after independence shows the expectations from education by a nascent nation facing the Herculean task of taking care of millions. Today, though all her problems have not been solved absolutely, India is a powerful and vibrant economy of the world. This has been possible because of widespread education, which is being reviewed and revised periodically. Nevertheless, there may be found many flaws in the education system in India at the execution level. The self reliance in terms of agriculture, technology, and expertise in large number of areas has plummeted India to a powerful position. This was possible because of widespread educational facilities. As discussed in the previous subunit, education trains people for specialized roles. It equips people to adapt to the changed social, technological, economic, political setup. Accomplishments since independence in 1947 in terms of literacy, spread of institutions, and participation and equalization of educational opportunities have been quite significant. There has been phenomenal increase in the number of educational institutions, teachers, and students. The number of teachers has gone up fivefold and the number of schools threefold. Literacy rate has nearly trebled. The decennial census 2001 saw India's literacy rate around 62%. India's economy is on the fulcrum of an ever increasing growth curve. The Economic Survey 2005-2006 estimates that the GDP will grow at 8.1%. The manufacturing and the services sector have become a major driving force for the Indian economy. With both of them on a soaring growth path, one can conquer that India can aim towards a nominal growth of 12%. We can observe a phenomenal growth in economy alongside literacy. India is making gains in the areas of agriculture, industry, and construction at an unprecedented rate. For example, there is a strong relationship between economic growth and the level of education. Kerala is the most literate state in India. A 2002 survey showed Kerala as number 3 in affluence level and number 5 in terms of infrastructure, penetration, and investment attractiveness. Today, the state's domestic product SDP is growing at 7%, and the state government's finance department expects the SDP to grow at 7% in real terms over the next 3 years. Political systems and education. Influence of some political ideologies. Karl Jaspers 1960 has written, "Nothing man does is quite without political significance." Politics is usually associated with administration, rights and duties of the citizens, and social living of the people. We are considering the education prevalent in different political setups like the fascist, the communist, and the democratic. Fascism believes in the supremacy of the state over the individual. It is a political system which places collectivism in the form of supremacy of the state over the individual. It discards individualism. The chief purpose of education in a fascist state is the enlightenment of the masses about the ideals exalted by the fascist ruler. The purpose of education is to glorify the nation and prepare the people for all sacrifices for her supremacy over other nations of the world. The important task is to educate and train the elite so that the state can be administered well. Education is not considered as a birthright of all. The three functions of the school in this perspective are to train the character, to educate the intellect, to develop the body. So, dear learners, that's it for now. I hope you have understood whatever we discussed today. If at all you find that you have not understood a particular topic or a concept or any word, you can post it in the comments box. I'll definitely answer to it. Or, if needed, I can even make a new video for explaining that concept and post it. Do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.